See this ridiculously good-looking guy getting his face absolutely wrecked. That is the adopted son of the Elmham family patriarch. We are talking about the most overpowered military bloodline on the continent, swearing their swords to the royal family for generations. The boss of this clan is Roderick A. Elmham. This absolute monster is the only guy in the kingdom rocking 7 wings. During a massive siege, after totally wiping the floor with the enemy forces, he turns around to find his heavily wounded son standing right behind him. Roderick tries to play the caring dad, but Ash completely calls out his twisted scheme. He knew the dark truth from day one. This psychopath used his squad as cannon fodder, treating them like disposable trash the second they outlived their usefulness. Roderick just scoffs and starts roasting him. He straight up tells Ash that being meat shields is the only purpose for wingless garbage like him. Flashback to years ago. Roderick stumbled upon him as a half-dead toddler freezing in a massive blizzard. He took the kid in and raised him from the ground up. Because of that, our boy grinded his heart out trying to repay that life-saving debt. But since he did not share their bloodline, he manifested 0 wings to make his dad proud, constantly getting bullied and branded as a wingless loser. People told him to stop dreaming big since he did not even have a crest. They were talking about the wing stigmata. The math is simple: more wing marks equal god-tier magic potential. Meanwhile, Ash was literally the only person in the entire Duke's estate who could not cast a single spell, earning the ultimate trash-tier nickname from his siblings. But did he quit? No way. He swung his sword every single day until his hands bled. He truly believed his insane loyalty would eventually pay off. Spoiler alert, it did not. His grand reward was a lethal ambush and a cold-blooded reality check from his old man. What makes a mediocre tool like you think you deserve any expectations? You are an eyesore. Get out of my sight. Realizing how hard he got played, Ash tightens his grip on his blade and full sprints straight at him. But he gets brutally intercepted by 2 of his brothers who pin him down with blazing red chains. Forced to crawl in utter humiliation while his so-called family spits venom at him, he drops one final heartbreaking question. If you were just going to throw me away, why even save me in the first place? That exact question triggers the most insane plot twist. Turns out Ash possessed the godly power of 7 wings inside his body this whole time. After dropping that massive bombshell, Roderick cold-heartedly walks away, leaving a shattered Ash bleeding out in the snow for his brothers to finish off. Right as he is crossing death's door, something trips him out. He vaguely feels this overwhelming, comforting warmth wrapping around him. Ash slowly forces his eyes open. Plot twist, he is suddenly trapped inside the tiny body of a newborn baby, chilling in some woman's arms. Out of nowhere, he hears soldiers screaming their lungs out. Search everywhere, find that woman at all costs, and drag that infant back to Lord Roderick. The second that name drops, his brain goes into overdrive, flashing back to the exact snowy night he was originally picked up. Realizing he just regressed to the very day his nightmare began, Ash starts thrashing like crazy to break free from her grip. He hard commits to changing his fate, knowing he has to survive and avoid getting snatched by the Duke's messed up family at all costs. Even though his tiny limbs feel like they are literally on fire, he pushes through the heavy blizzard on all fours. After dragging himself a solid distance, he totally blacks out at the feet of this little noble girl. She whips around and yells for her dad, Viscount Highfree. He quickly scoops the freezing baby up, totally panicked, saying, "Why in the world is a baby out here in the middle of nowhere?" Then he spots the crawl trail, Ash left in the snow, and his jaw hits the floor. He cannot believe a newborn traveled that insane distance. The guy is instantly super curious about who this kid really is. Cut to a hazy, dreamlike sequence with distorted voices echoing. Where am I? The childhood face of Anfin slowly comes into focus. Did this baby come all the way here just to see me? Right at that moment, Aster violently snaps awake. Still tripping from the dream, he blurts out. Angel Anfin peeks over the crib, totally hyped, and yells, "Sister!" The little guy finally opened his eyes. Frey frowns and snaps back. "Hey, stop poking him, you are going to rip his cute little nose right off." Suddenly, Aster goes into full panic mode, thrashing around. It totally freaks the other kids out, making them yell, "What in the world is wrong with him?" Aster does not chill out. He actively starts rubbing his cheek against Frey's sleeve, which makes her shriek at the top of her lungs. "No, stop doing that." Then, using all his baby strength, Aster literally throws himself right out of their arms. He hits the deck and starts crawling like a madman, reaching out as if his life depends on grabbing something in front of him. Frey is losing her mind watching this, yelling, "Darn it, what is happening right now?" She scoops up Anfin and sprints after him, screaming, "Freeze right there!" Hearing the absolute chaos behind him, Aster is super confused. Why on earth are these random kids chasing me? Gritting his teeth, he funnels every single drop of magic he has to push forward. His pupils suddenly flare up with this crazy, intense glow. A split second later, Aster's tiny body gets straight up hijacked by some mysterious energy and lifts off the ground. Am I hovering? Wait, this is pure magic. Aster twists midair, desperately trying to flip the script. But just like that, poof, that freaky, mysterious power vanishes into thin air. Gravity takes over, yanking him down at breakneck speed. I cannot stop. I am literally free-falling. Pure panic kicks in and he squeezes his eyes shut, bracing for the absolute worst. Boom! Out of nowhere, a guy swoops in and snatches him right out of the sky. So we are just dropping from the clouds now, the man mutters. What a weird kid. Aster's eyes snap open. He whips his head around and his brain straight up short-circuits when he recognizes the face. His jaw hits the floor. The dude holding him, it is Viscount Heifred, the older brother of Duke Roderick. Alarm bells start ringing in Aster's head. No freaking way. Do not tell me I just landed straight in the lap of the Elmhem branch family. Flashes from his past life hit him like a truck. Heifred Elmhem, the head honcho of the Elmhem side branch. Back in the day, this guy fought back-to-back with his little bro Roderick. Together, they were the ultimate power duo. Totally trusted to act as the royal family's absolute meat shield. But wait, the Heifred, I remember, got wiped out during the Civil War, taking his entire bloodline down with him. The puzzle pieces finally snap into place, and Aster is low-key hyperventilating. It is real. He actually time-traveled to the past. He lets out the heaviest, most defeated sigh ever. I literally tried to ghost the Duke, and now his own brother scoops me up. You cannot make this stuff up. Cut to later, and Aster is bundled up in the arms of a totally different woman. She is staring at him, pure worry etched on her face. Did his mana completely glitch out and launch him into the sky? Looks like it. I always knew this kid was built different. Her worried expression instantly melts into a super warm, comforting smile. She pulls Aster into a tight hug, rubbing his back. You must have been absolutely terrified, but you are safe now, okay? Aster just blinks at her, utterly clueless. He is processing literally nothing right now. Heifred, chilling on the sidelines, catches himself grinning. He reaches out gently, resting a hand on Aster's shoulder and drops a bombshell. This kid is packing an insane amount of power. Heifred carefully tugs up the back of Aster's shirt, exposing a wild, glowing tattoo. This mark, it is the smoking gun. The woman gets one look at the ink and gasps, stepping back in pure shock. That is an angel mark. Aster twists to look, and even he is utterly shook. Why the heck is this thing stamped on my back? Mid-thought, his pupils dilate. A core memory just unlocked. Roderick's exact words from his past life echo in his brain. What we need is the angel's power hiding inside you. A wave of dread washes over him. So that is what this was all about. Suddenly the flashback pulls him back to that brutal, snowy night. Roderick had literally scooped him up like a prize just to use him as a pawn. Reliving that trauma makes Aster's blood boil. He clenches his tiny fists, absolutely fuming. That psycho only saved me to hijack the wingless angel. Are you kidding me? He literally rips someone's wings off, and then has the audacity to act like a savior. The woman suddenly squeezes Aster tighter, breaking his train of thought. So she side-eyes Heifred, super anxious, and cautiously asks, what exactly are we supposed to do with him? Aster's spidey senses are tingling. Major red flags are popping up everywhere. His tiny knuckles turn white. There is zero chance I am letting the Elmhems get their filthy hands on this buff. I need this power to make Roderick pay. Heifred stews on it for a hot second before dropping the hammer. I am adopting him. That one sentence completely nukes Aster's anxiety. He just stares at the guy, completely dumbfounded. Heifred reaches out, gently ruffling the kid's hair, and lays it out straight. Right now, this kid is just a baby bird who has not figured out how to fly. But until he is ready to spread his wings and make his own choices, I am stepping up to raise him. Aster's eyes practically bug out of his skull. He literally cannot compute what he is hearing. Suddenly crash, Marta and Freya tumble out from behind a door, face planting hard. Heifred spots the eavesdropping kids and shoots them a deadpan look. So, you guys heard everything, huh? Marta scrambles up looking totally guilty. We were just super worried about the new kid, she mumbles. Heifred just does an ultimate facepalm sigh. Meanwhile, Freya practically teleports to the woman's side. Mom, the little girl is vibrating with excitement, staring unblinkingly at Aster. What are we going to name him? The woman smiles, tapping her chin. Let me think. She lifts the boy up into the light like a trophy. Aster. Because he is the brand new star that just crashed into our family. Flash forward a solid 10 years. The second Heifred steps foot onto the academy grounds, some guy immediately bows, like a total fanboy. We have been eagerly awaiting your arrival, Viscount Heifred. And right on cue, a shadowy absolute unit of a figure steps out of the carriage. It is Aster. He touches down with off-the-charts drip, looking insanely confident. With smooth, gentleman-level precision, he reaches out to help Alphine step down. Watch your step, Alphine. She shoots him a glowing smile. Thanks, Aster. He chuckles, watching her skip ahead with pure chaotic energy. Gripping his sword hilt, he trails right behind her. Welcome to the Sword Dance Gala. It is this ridiculously elite networking event, hosted every single year by a heavyweight Duke family under the Elmhem banner. It is strictly for the cream of the crop of martial arts nobles. On paper, it is just rich people shaking hands. In reality, it is a massive flex fest, where every family gets to show off their most elite, overpowered young prodigies. In no time, the duo posts up right behind Heifred, ready to hard carry their family's legacy. Hayfried leads the charge with Aster and Anfin following right behind him like absolute bosses. But the hallway, pure chaos. The student body is already whispering, treating them like a walking circus. Look who showed up, the Viscount's squad, back for another humiliation ritual. Word on the street is they couldn't produce a real heir, so they literally picked up some random street rat. How much lower can the Elmham name drop? Aster just glides through the hate unbothered, leaving the haters totally speechless. Anfin catches him, side-eyeing the crowd. She grabs his arm, her grip tightening like a vice. Tune them out, she warns him. You show even an ounce of fear here, and these vultures will eat you alive. Aster keeps his face deadpan, a stark contrast to Anfin, who's practically vibrating with rage right next to him. Hayfried's voice drops an octave. Take a good look, kid. This is exactly where the Viscount family stands right now. He pauses, locking eyes with Aster, searching for a reaction. I wanted you to see this firsthand. Looking at Aster's ice-cold expression, he asks, Are you disappointed? Aster's lips curl into a cocky smirk, radiating absolute confidence. Not at all, father. Actually, I kind of vibe with the freezing reception. Hearing that, Hayfried bursts into a proud, booming laugh. That's my boy, Aster thinks back. In his past life, being the walking embarrassment of the Elmham clan gave him the most pathetic high society debut imaginable. Just a highlight reel of pure trauma and bitter memories. His knuckles turn white around his sword hilt, resolve burning in his chest. But this time, I'm built different. Aster's gaze sharpens, locking onto his prey with eyes like daggers. Right at that moment, Hayfried, Anfin, and Aster glance up at a second-floor classroom window. Peering through the glass are Darius and Grian mean-mugging them with pure venom. Aster stares back without blinking, his fist clenching on instinct. He steps in line behind Hayfried, a wicked thought crossing his mind. All right then, let's give these elites a debut they'll never forget. Cut to the sword tournament, the absolute heartbeat of the city, and the ultimate proof that knights rule this era. Down in the pit, a swordsman grips his blade, eyes locked and loaded. His opponent isn't some low-level extra, either charging forward with gritted teeth. To survive out here, a knight needs raw power and killer presence. The two titans collide head-on, sending the crowd into an absolute frenzy. Power equals blade mastery, and the stronger swordsman easily blasts his rival back. Presence equals reputation. He closes the distance cold as ice. They launch into each other again, trading massive blows. But there's one thing that separates the legends from the losers. A glowing crest materializes on the swordsman's hand, his eyes flaring with power. With one brutal, clean swing, he obliterates his opponent's weapon, leaving the guy completely wrecked and defenseless. He hoists his blade high, soaking in the absolute worship of the arena. The ultimate flex in this world is the wing crest, and the victor always bears that glowing mark on their flesh. Up in the bleachers, Anfin covers her ears, visibly annoyed by the chaos. This place is a suffocating madhouse, she mutters suddenly, flashing back to Fren and Free's exhausted faces, letting out a heavy sigh. Honestly, makes total sense why my sister skipped this mess. Meanwhile, Aster is completely zoned out, staring at the floor. He's trapped in a flashback, reliving the brutal, humiliating beatdown Darius handed him. Anfin notices him spiraling and calls his name. Leaning in, she asks, Hey, are you getting cold feet? I mean, it is your first time at the sword dance festival. Snapping out of it, Aster flips the switch, radiating pure swagger. Honestly, nah. Deep down, he's thinking, if anything, this is just a walk down memory lane. Anfin gives him a totally bewildered look. Right on cue, Hayfried steps up. I've got a meeting to crash. Keep an eye on Anfin for me, will you? She instantly pouts, completely offended. Dad, come on, I'm way more skilled than him. Aster just flashes a teasing smile. You're a literal walking disaster. Hayfried ignores the bickering, putting a heavy hand on Aster's shoulder with intense expectation. There's a ton of kids your age here. Start networking, build some bridges. Then his expression turns dead serious as he drops a whisper. And whatever you do, keep the 7 wings a total secret. Aster watches his dad walk away feeling seriously conflicted. Easy for him to say. He scans the room, feeling the heavy toxic glare of every single person practically burning holes through his skull. Aster lets out a tired sigh. How am I supposed to network when the whole room has major beef with me? Suddenly something catches his eye. Anfin blinks in surprise as Aster suddenly walks off. Wait, Aster, where are you going? He doesn't even bother looking back. To make some friends. He marches straight into the lion's den, right up to Darius and his crew. Darius sneers, looking at him like a piece of trash. Who the hell is this brat? Aster cranks his voice up, projecting for the whole group. Nice to finally meet you, cousin Darius. A wildly satisfied grin spreads across Aster's face. I'm Aster Elmham, your little brother. He keeps rolling, completely ignoring the massive scowl forming on Darius's face. Spotted you from a mile away and figured I'd drop by. Grian smirks from the sidelines. Wait, is this the adopted stray? The charity case, the Viscount dragged out of the gutter. Darius's face contorts in pure disgust before he cracks a wicked laugh. Oh wow, that makes so much sense. The absolute nerve to label yourself an F-class like that. Aster glared at the two figures blocking his path, his blood instantly boiling. Darius and Ryan, the golden boys of the Elmham family, and the exact scumbags who murdered him in his past life. Aster stayed dead silent, letting the memories rush in. Back then, they were absolute nightmares. But looking at them right now, all he saw was endless pathetic spite. They were just overgrown toddlers playing dress-up in adult clothes. Suddenly, Anfin shattered the heavy tension. Aster, she locked onto his wrist, her voice dropping into a dead serious tone. We're leaving. Let's head back. We've done our greetings. But the second Darius spotted her, a wicked smirk crept onto his face. Well, well, if it isn't little Anfin. He dragged out his words, dripping with toxic sarcasm. What's the matter? Decided not to hide behind Daddy's back today. His trash talk only got worse. Get over here and entertain us. Consider it a direct order from the main house. You know your place, right? But instead of backing down, Anfin shot him a absolute death glare. Hard pass, she snapped. The main house and the branch families aren't masters and slaves. As she dragged Aster away, he called out, Hey, wait, but before he could even finish his sentence, he felt it. Her hands were violently trembling. His heart sank. She was terrified. Right on cue, Darius cranked his arrogance up to an 11 and shouted, You guys want to hear a joke? He started spilling venomous gossip. Her dad was supposed to be a knight, but the total loser couldn't even protect the king. So as payback, his own flesh and blood brother chopped his arm off. Anfin completely froze the words, hitting her like a freight train. But Darius wasn't hitting the brakes anytime soon. Thank God I don't share that pathetic loser bloodline. Pushed to the brink, she screamed back. Take that back right now. But before the words even left her mouth, Darius casually spat a mouthful of wine directly into her face. If you ever disrespect my father again, I will, he scoffed, looking at her like she was absolute dirt. Your dad could only produce useless daughters. You can't even inherit the Baron title. Man, your old man must be sick to his stomach looking at you. A sinister glint flashed in his eyes as he pointed right at her soaked dress. Newsflash, this isn't a ballroom. Next time, wear something you don't mind getting drenched in. Or better yet, just wrap yourself in some trashy rags. Anfin swallowed her pride, gripping her ruined dress as silent tears of humiliation threatened to fall. Aster stood perfectly still, letting it all sink in. On the ride over, he was actually worried. He scanned the faces of everyone in the room. He had honestly convinced himself that facing his killers wouldn't trigger his rage anymore. Boy, was he totally wrong. Without skipping a beat, Aster smoothly snatched the wine bottle right out of their hands. He stepped up to Anfin, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Good thing. He tossed the bottle right back at Darius without a second thought. Catch Darius. The guy grabbed it, looking completely confused. In a flash, Aster drew his blade and sliced the bottle clean in half mid-air. You're still the exact same piece of trash you used to be. Dark liquid exploded everywhere, completely drenching Darius in absolute shock. What the? Ryan panicked from the sidelines. Bro, meanwhile, Aster just coolly licked the liquid off his razor-sharp steel. What? It's literally just grape juice. Giving Darius a taste of his own medicine, Aster hit him with a look of pure disgust. Suits a parasitic trust fund baby like you perfectly. Rewind the clock 3 years. A blood-curdling scream ripped through the air. Hold him down, Aster Hyfrid yelled in pure panic. Are you trying to murder your own sisters? Stay right there, he commanded, his voice booming. Snap out of it. Watching the sheer chaos unfold, Hyfrid was hit with a wave of utter disbelief. So the dark rumors were actually true. He never could have pictured a power this lethally unstable hiding inside a kid. A terrifying thought crept into his mind. Could this freakish power ever actually be tamed? He was drowning in doubt, questioning absolutely everything. By me. And even by you, Aster. Just then, a frantic subordinate burst into the meeting room. Viscount. We've got a massive emergency. The high-ranking VIPs around the table instantly scowled, visibly annoyed by the rude interruption. What's the meaning of this? We're right in the middle of a major negotiation. The guard stammered, completely out of breath. It took him a solid few seconds to finally spit it out. My lord, the sons of the main house and the branch family. They're throwing down in a live duel. Hyfried's face instantly dropped. Say what? Roderick, on the other hand, flashed a dangerously unreadable look. Without a single word, he pushed his chair back and stormed out. Meanwhile, Anfin came sprinting down the hallway. Dad. He froze for a second. Anfin. She looked wildly confused. What on earth is going on? Across the balcony, a duke's voice echoed with sick excitement. Would you look at that? The guy was practically eating popcorn out of sheer joy. An all-out civil war between the Elmham brats. Now that's front-row entertainment. His eyes locked onto the arena, judging every single move. Depending on how this bloodbath ended, everything could change. The whole room suddenly caught the hype crowding around the window. The Duke hid a devious smirk. This little sword dance festival is about to turn into an absolute train wreck. Down in the dirt ring, Darius raised his blade like a final boss. Picking a fight with the Duke's bloodline, you're practically begging for a death wish, he sneered. Just a filthy street rat playing pretend. You don't even grasp the galaxy-sized gap in our power levels. The crowd watching from the sidelines was absolutely losing their minds. Holy crap, is that the four-wing crest? He's the legit heir to the dukedom. His aura is completely off the charts. Darius was straight up glowing with ego. Come on then, flash me your little wing crest. He kept relentlessly running his mouth. Or are you too embarrassed to even summon it after witnessing absolute perfection? Through all the trash talk, Aster stood perfectly still, chillingly unfazed. Flexing that basic little mark, did you seriously think I'd be scared to humble you? That totally triggered Darius. Before the dude could blow a gasket, Aster laid out the terms. If I win, you're going to apologize to my sister's deal. His arrogant cousin didn't miss a beat. Bet. But when I win, you'll be my personal lapdog. Darius was practically vibrating with overconfidence. I'll own you for the rest of your miserable life. Darius lunged, but Aster parried the strike in a flash. Still, the sheer force sent our boy skidding backward, kicking up a massive dust cloud. Aster white-knuckled his blade, digging his heels in while Darius smirked down at him. That's the power of the chosen ones. Without missing a beat, he charged in like a hurricane. Watching from the sidelines, Alphine's heart dropped. Aster. Up in the stands, the spiky-haired count scoffed, noticing Darius's sword work was actually super sloppy. But looking at how things were playing out, it didn't even matter how trash his technique was. The insane mana leaking from that wing crest totally carried him. To put it in perspective, if a one-wing crest is a flickering candle, the mana packed inside a four-wing mark is a straight-up nuke. With every clash, Darius got more and more hyped. What happened to all that big talk? He taunted relentlessly, swinging his blade. Weren't you going to make me apologize, or were you just all bark? He screamed like a maniac. Show me what you've actually got. Watching this beatdown from the VIP seats, the blonde duke raised an eyebrow. Was the fight already a wrap? Suddenly Aster angled his blade perfectly, deflecting that bone-crushing strike. Darius's jaw basically hit the floor. Wait, what? Aster just hit him with a cold glare. You talk way too much. With a violent shove, Aster launched his heavyweight cousin straight into the air. The aura pouring off our main character right now was absolutely terrifying. In his head, Aster was doing the math. For 10 straight years, he had been grinding in secret at the Viscount's estate, mastering his mana control. All for this exact moment, the perfect chance to make these elites pay. A deadly glint flashed in his eyes. His next strike zeroed right in on Darius's head. No hesitation. The rich kid couldn't even react before the crushing pressure forced his knees into the cold, hard dirt. The entire crowd was losing their minds. No way he just did that. Darius was desperately backpedaling, completely malfunctioning, trying to process reality. But I have a four-wing crest. Aster didn't give him a single word in response. He just pressed harder, pushing Darius's blade to its absolute breaking point. The mana clashing between them was getting dangerously volatile. The stands absolutely erupted. Holy crap, is the underdog actually about to take the win? The whispers turned into a roar. Darius was getting completely ragdolled, completely shut down from counterattacking. Goosebumps broke out on everyone's arms. Did the Elmham family really have a hidden monster built like this? Aster didn't let up for a second. Up in the VIP box, Hayfried started sweating bullets. This is bad. Darius was practically cracking his teeth under the pressure. Flashbacks of his past trauma started messing with his head as he desperately choked out. Yo, back off. Someone screamed from the balconies, Aster, don't do it. But a massive shockwave of pure energy just exploded outward. The crowd was getting the absolute cinematic masterpiece they paid for. Snap. Darius's premium sword literally shattered in half. Standing over him, Aster dropped the coldest one-liner. Next time you step to me, wear some trash bags. He made sure every syllable stung, something you don't mind wetting yourself in. Looking up, his defeated cousin finally got the memo. This guy was no longer Ash, the pathetic wingless loser. Seeing him cook like this, Alphine flashed a proud smile. Honestly, just having them acknowledge his glow-up was enough to give Aster some serious peace of mind. But right as he let his guard down, Aster's pupils suddenly dilated. A suffocating heavy aura started rolling over the arena. Every nerve in his body screamed the final boss had just entered the chat. It was Roderick. The entire stadium immediately blew up into a chaotic frenzy of whispers. Are you kidding me? The youngest son of a random viscount just clapped the third son of the main family. Cutting through the noise, heavy boots started making their way down the steps. Yeah, this situation had officially gone off the rails. There was zero chance a big shot like him would let this massive disrespect slide. Stepping into the light was the stone-faced Roderick, the 8th-generation head of the Elmham main branch. Seeing his dad, Darius, actually let out a pathetic little laugh. Tracking the movement, everyone watched as Aster fearlessly closed the distance to Roderick. The family head furrowed his brows, radiating pure ice. Tanking that intense pressure like a champ, Aster didn't even flinch. Duke Roderick Elmham, sensing his backup had arrived, Darius scrambled to his feet. He threw himself down like a total coward in front of his dad. Father, he instantly started snitching aggressively, pointing a shaky finger at Aster. It's this trash. This filthy half-blood actually dared to lay a hand on the main branch, but playing the victim card only fueled Roderick's rage even more. Please show this peasant what real power looks like. Roderick didn't say a word. Instead, he ruthlessly struck out at his own son. Darius gaped in absolute horror at his mangled hand. That brutal display of friendly fire instantly muted the entire stadium. Even Green was left completely paralyzed by the shock. Pulling his hand back, Roderick glared down with a soul-crushing intensity. "Explain to me why a loser is smiling so shamelessly. You dragged our family's name through the dirt, a weakling who can't even fight his own battles." Watching this unfold, Hayfried screamed out in pure panic. "Roderick, drop it right now." But the Duke completely ignored him, raising his hand high for an execution strike. "You're unworthy of wielding a blade." Dead silence choked the entire arena. As Darius sobbed in absolute terror, Roderick just stared him down with eyes colder than ice. He is completely caught off guard by Aster's bold move. "What on earth do you think you are pulling?" But Aster, completely unbothered, he coolly breaks it down. "My cousin still owes my sister an apology." His gaze is dead serious, locking eyes without a flinch as he states, "Save the punishment until after that happens." "Uncle." That strikes a nerve. Roderick's expression darkens instantly, his vibe turning toxic. "Word is you are just some street orphan Hyfred, dragged out of the dirt. Do you seriously believe you actually belong to the Elmheim bloodline now?" Aster takes his time, his voice smooth like ice. "I am the eldest son, blood or not. And trust me, my father taught me everything about a knight's pride and our family's honor." Hearing this absolute mic drop, he shifts his gaze upward. Roderick snaps his temper, absolutely exploding. "Then acting as a member of this Viscount household, you just needlessly dragged the patriarch's name through the mud. The absolute peak of 12,000 knights, the king's own blade, and all that prestige." The whole room freezes, entirely captivated, hanging on to his every single word. "You better realize right now that this is way past some petty playground beef." Even the older guy standing nearby is visibly shook by Roderick's intense outburst. "You, of all people, should know that." Up above, a watcher keeps his eyes glued to the showdown. Roderick refuses to let up, spitting pure venom. "Your father traded an arm to pay for his treason." The cold steel of a blade hovers literally inches from Aster's throat. "So what are you coughing up?" Without missing a beat, the kid hits back with heavy respect, "Uncle." His voice rings out hard as iron and refusing to back down. "This was not some sibling rivalry. It was an official sanctioned duel. I let my sword do the talking against the sheer disrespect thrown at my family." Roderick's scowl deepens, his piercing glare locked firmly on target. But Aster does not flinch, throwing his own logic right back at him. "Someone who cannot avenge themselves has absolutely no right to hold a blade. You said that yourself, right? Well, I am not giving up a single finger." Up in the stands, Alphine literally shivers, hearing the sheer audacity. He raises an eyebrow entirely, hyped and totally hooked. "Is this kid seriously just 10 years old? You have got to be kidding me." Despite the insane clapback, Roderick stays totally stone-faced. A beat passes. He finally backs off, turning away. Message received. But then, in a split second, Roderick whips right back around. Then square up, Aster drops into a defensive stance instantly as a massive blade slashes dangerously close to his body. The guy holds nothing back. The sheer shockwave from the strike sends Aster flying across the room. Watching this absolute chaos, Alphine gasps, covering his mouth in sheer shock. Hyfried completely loses it, screaming. Roderick, boiling with rage, he charges in, swinging his weapon right at Roderick's blind spot. But the man is entirely chill. He casually parries the surprise attack. Hyfried flips back, sticking a safe landing on the dirt. Freaking out, he scrambles over to the kid. "Aster, are you okay, Aster?" But all he spots in the dust is a completely shattered blade. Hyfried can barely process what he is seeing right now. Against all odds, Aster is still on his feet, bruised, battered, and dripping with damage. But his eyes are burning with insane resolve. Roderick shoots an icy glare at the boy's absolute stubbornness. Totally mute, he just turns on his heel and walks off. Roderick's face is pure thunder, his fists clenched tight enough to snap bones. The exact second he is out of sight, Aster's legs finally give out, and he collapses hard. Hyfried desperately dives in to catch him. Aster barely able to draw breath. The boy whispers, "I kept my word, father. The promise. Absolutely everything." The dad frowns, looking down at his ridiculously reckless son. "You did incredible." Meanwhile, Roderick is taking his sweet time striding up the grand staircase. The watcher is already up there waiting for him, immediately roasting him on the spot. That was a pretty immature stunt to pull. Roderick does not even bat an eye. The man breaks it down smoothly. "But honestly, if you let the kid run his mouth that much, the main family head would look like an absolute joke." Wrapping it up right there was the smart play, was it not? The guy just cannot stop hyping the kid up. Aster went toe-to-toe with Duke Roderick, held his ground, actually survived the blow. That boy is a straight-up prodigy. He strokes his chin, grinning like crazy. For him, that was the absolute ultimate high society debut. The other dude nearby finally chimes in. "Not going to lie, it gave me a massive heart attack. I swear I thought Elmheim was about to get ripped in half right on the spot." Roderick stares them down, his eyes glowing, a menacing bloodshot red. An era of absolute chaos is creeping up. He drops a seriously heavy prediction. A storm so completely brutal, it is going to shred this entire world into 2 or 3 pieces. Cut to the next morning. The sky is a crisp, brilliant blue dotted with fluffy clouds. Down in the main hall, some dude's jaw is practically on the floor. He is absolutely mind-blown watching a tiny Aster. Absolutely, body bag veteran soldiers. The guy is completely stunned, a wild smirk creeping onto his face. That is freaking insane. He cheers out loud. Young, Master Aster. The troops standing in the back are watching this go down, completely shook as they blurt out. His skills are totally cracked. Being this lethal at just 10 years old is downright terrifying. The first guy fires back, buzzing with pure hype. Ever since that sword dance tournament, his training grind has hit a completely psychotic level. That definitely gave him a massive reality check. He smirks, overflowing with flex energy as he drops the bomb. Plus, did you guys catch the latest news? The young master totally wrecked Duke Roderick's third son. The whole squad is absolutely eating this up. For years, the snobby main branch treated them like garbage, so this payback tastes absolutely delicious. Meanwhile, deep in his zone, Aster's mind and eyes are fiercely locked in. I left it all out there at the sword dance tournament. The hunger to win. Yeah, I made sure everyone felt that energy. Every single strike carried my frustration. Those brutal swings, they were loud enough to shut up the haters for good. Sure, our Viscount family is Elmham's walking punchline, but the real boss battle is the main family head. I just seriously need to find out where my actual ceiling is. I was dying to step back into that arena. His jaw clenched, dead set on his goal. A slight frown, but bursting with quiet confidence. With my current stats, there is zero chance I am taking down Roderick. Standing right in the eye of that violent storm, it suddenly clicked for Aster. The wing crest is literally just a mana battery indicator. God-tier talent means absolutely nothing if you cannot even steer the wheel. And yet tapping into the true power of the 7 wings, still completely locked away from me. He gripped his blade and swung hard. Man, if only I didn't have to stress about going berserk. I would push this 7 wings power to its absolute breaking point. One ruthless sweeping slash completely shredded the dirt, sending his opponent flying backward. Aster's gaze went ice-cold and dead serious. As the final blade clattered against the ground, he called out, totally unfazed. Who is up next? In literally the blink of an eye, he had absolutely floored every single soldier standing in his way. From behind, a sharp feminine voice cut through the silence. Going a little hard today, aren't we? Alphine tilted her head, a smirk playing on her lips. Her tone dripped with playful scolding. Seriously, zero chill. Anyway, Aster Dad is looking for you. He stepped smoothly through the pile of knocked out bodies. Dad, got it, I am on my way. But as he brushed past her, he suddenly froze. A flash of genuine surprise crossed his eyes. Wait, is that outfit? Alphine pivoted, keeping her face stone cold, but her eyes were calculating everything. Aster didn't hold back, blurting out, you literally never wear that. Didn't you say you despised it because it completely kills your cute vibe? She let out a soft sigh, totally keeping her cool. Look, it is all about balance. Right. Watching you grind made me realize I cannot just stay on the sidelines forever. She leveled her wooden practice sword right at his chest, so she cleared her throat, half joking but totally serious. When you get back, you are officially on my training schedule. Aster totally lost it, bursting into laughter. He threw his hands up in surrender. Please go easy on me. Minutes later, Aster stood outside the heavy oak doors, gave 2 solid knocks, and pushed his way inside. Pardon the intrusion. Hefried tilted his head, his face an absolute iceberg. You sent for me. Take a seat. Aster sat down, totally on edge. The tension in the room was suffocating as the older man leaned back into his leather chair. Pure exhaustion flickered in his eyes. It has been exactly 10 years since we took you in. Out of nowhere, Hefried pulled out a crazy-looking artifact, leaving Aster completely stunned. Honestly, I wanted to hold off until you were a bit older. Aster just stared at it, his brain totally short-circuiting. Wait, is this? The older man furrowed his brows, completely deadpan. The ultimate proof of succession. Hefried didn't sugarcoat it. Aster, I need you to step up and lead the Viscount family. That massive bombshell dropped, and Aster physically froze. Look, you know how incredibly messy our family's political standing is. Hefried lowered his voice, dropping the harsh act. We might be flawed, but we still carry the Elmham bloodline as a branch family. As the lords defending this turf, we have too much riding on us to fail. You could literally see the anxiety chewing him up. Leaving the heir seat empty any longer is basically a death sentence. Despite the heavy logic, Aster wasn't buying it. Did my sisters actually greenlight this? Hefried tried to soften the blow. They are currently stationed at the Knight Academy, but they head back in 3 days. I am pitching it to them then. Aster panicked. Hold up, Martha and Kudo are coming back. All the color drained from Aster's face. Yeah, that is going to be a bloodbath, especially with Kudo. She is going to completely flip out. He spelled it out plain and simple. She already despises me just for being born a guy. And hitting the jackpot with this 7 wings magic. Aster immediately shut the whole thing down. There is no way I am signing off on this. His voice went totally pitch black. I cannot even steer my own mana. I am still the same monster who almost put his own sister in the grave. Aster kept pushing. You want me to tank their absolute rage over this zero chance? Hayfried didn't argue. He just flashed a faint smirk. After a massive heavy silence, he finally muttered, "Sometimes I legitimately wonder if you are actually a kid at all." With a sudden spark of hype, he slammed a premium wooden case onto the desk. This ring was supposed to be your prize for crushing the sword dance tournament. Aster locked onto the mysterious box. But I have a feeling you are going to vibe with this way more. Aster's eyes literally glowed with hype. He leaned in. Wait, what is in there? Hayfried's voice dropped an octave. Inside is Gram, the demonic blade. It literally feeds on mana. This is the one weapon that can actually chain down your 7 wings. Cut to Hayfried, dragging him deep into the woods. Alright, this spot should do the trick. Aster was super confused. Dad, if we are just test driving a sword, why didn't we just hit the dojo? Nah, this is just my ultimate backup plan. Let's not forget how you used to literally demolish our house as a toddler. Like all the time. Yvonne raises his blade, his gaze turning dead serious. This is the demonic sword Gram, an absolute legendary relic, supposed to be passed down only to the Elmham family's firstborn. It usually stays locked up at the main estate, but I personally hauled it all the way back here. Just for you. The second that steel leaves the scabbard, a blinding flash drops. Aster's pupils shrink, completely shook by the intense glare. The weapon is bizarrely shattered, looking nothing like a standard piece of gear. Wait, is this even a sword? As you can see, there's no actual blade. A neon blue aura wraps around the hilt, while a violently intense crimson energy explodes from within. Instantly, the weapon morphs. But the moment you pump your mana into it, that red energy condenses, stretching and shaping itself to your pulse. Basically, the blade forms itself based on its owner's raw magical output. A massive shockwave of mana blasts outward, painting the entire ground in a blood-red hue. A literal vortex rips through the forest violently, sucking up leaves and shattered rocks into its core. Yvonne grips the blazing red hilt, his expression grim. But here's the catch if the user is weak. This thing will drain their mana completely dry. It's got a seriously dark reputation. The fiery blade hovers right in front of Aster. His dad drops the challenge, so you want to give it a shot. With zero hesitation, Aster grabs the hilt, oozing confidence. An inferno erupts, right behind his back. And right there in his grip, the magical energy violently swirls, totally answering his call. Let's see what happens when I pour my magic into this thing. Boom. A golden flash completely shatters the space around him. Wait, what is this vibe? In the blinding reflection, the crimson magic thrashes around like a living, breathing beast. Is my mana literally getting sucked into the sword on its own? A massive red beam shoots straight into the heavens. Something massive has officially been unleashed. The bystanders go totally pale. Yo, what the heck was that light? Did ice just drop from the sky? Are you blind? Something just blasted upward, amidst all the pure chaos. Alphen just chills in the back, silently watching the panic unfold. What do you mean something? Without even needing a second guess. She already knows exactly who caused that crazy light show. Yeah, that's definitely Aster. Our boy tightens his grip, his golden eyes glowing with pure hype. This sword is actually insane, Yvonne's eyes twitch. But the craziest part isn't the sword. It's the sky above them, literally swirling into a massive vortex, blending wind and clouds. This is all your power, a force that completely shatters our family's limits. And it's currently living inside you, the bearer of the 7 wings mark. Even if you flipped through the entire bloodline history of the Elmham clan, you wouldn't find a single dude built like this. One day, this kid is going to be a swordsman who completely leaves me in the dust. If you can actually master all that juice, you're destined to become a warrior who completely outclasses me with those 6 pairs of wings, and even surpass Roderick. Meanwhile, one thought is echoing in Aster's head. Surpass him, his hand white knuckles, the hilt the blade sparking with raw light. But massive power always paints a target on your back. Golden magical wings violently burst out from his back, shining bright. If word gets out about your 7 wings, the stronger you get, the more enemies will crawl out of the woodwork. People will be jealous, they'll hate you, and trust me, there will be those who try to use you as a pawn, or just straight up try to erase you from the board. Yvonne extends his hand toward his son. I want you ready, so when that day comes, you won't be kicking yourself for being weak. He offers his hand right under the sunbeams, piercing the canopy. Start getting insanely strong right now, Aster. They lock hands in a solid grip. He's right. I absolutely refuse to live a pathetic trash-tier life like I did before. Aster looks up, his eyes burning with pure resolve. Thanks, Dad. I'm gonna dominate the 7 wings and this blade. Cut to 3 days later. The whole fam is hanging out by the main hall. Welcome back. Right at the gates, Kudryavka struts in, radiating absolute boss energy. Your 2 useless girls have finally made it back. She covers her mouth with a smirk, looking devious as hell. Kudryavka throws her arms wide open. flashing an overly enthusiastic smile, ready to tackle everyone into a hug. Come here, my precious little baby sisters. The two little girls dash forward, their giggles echoing through the hall. Give your favorite big sis a massive warm hug, except they totally swerve past Kudryavka and dive straight into Martha's arms. Welcome home, Sister Martha. Oh boy. Martha catches them, then looks over scolding them. Hey, what about hugging Kudryavka? The twins cringe and spill the tea, because she literally always ruins our hair. Kudryavka, refusing to take the L, sharply turns her head away, totally dodging their eye contact. As if I am a perfectly disciplined knight. I would never do something so unrefined. But the second Kudryavka spots Alphen standing nearby, she eagerly pounces on her instead. Alphen, have you been a good girl? She practically suffocates her in a hug aggressively, rubbing her head and completely wrecking Alphen's hair. Why did you drag me into this? Martha glances around, realizes someone is missing and drops the question. Wait, where's Aster? Hivan stutters. About the boy. The moment Martha hears his name, her whole vibe flips. A genuinely terrifying aura leaks out of her. Meanwhile, deep in the woods, Aster is grinding like an absolute maniac, desperately trying to tame this cryptic sword, teeth gritted hard. He is drenched in sweat. Damn it, still not clicking. He intensely glares at the magical aura he just spawned, hyper-analyzing every single detail. I can forge this blade out of raw mana, but keeping it stable, that is another story entirely. Aster pushed himself to the limit, grinding through his training. Inspecting the glowing weapon, a frustrating thought crossed his mind. Seriously, how does the old man swing this thing around like it is completely weightless? Out of nowhere, Kudryavka strolled up, dripping with sarcasm. Look at you, showing off, caught off guard. Aster turned around. You made it back, Kud, she scoffed, not even bothering to show your face and welcome your big sister home. Unbelievable. She raised an eyebrow, a teasing smirk playing on her lips. Isn't that giving me the cold shoulder a bit too much? Her tone quickly lost its playful edge, turning sharp. Are we literally just peasants to you now? Or do you actually think you are the main character? Word travels fast about the sword dance tournament. You are practically the main gossip over at the Knight Academy. I bet Dad is absolutely glowing with pride. Aster did not even flinch, keeping his cool. On the flip side, I heard some rumors about you too. For a cadet, you have been absolutely clearing those missions left and right. Pinned perfectly onto Kudryavka's uniform was the prestigious Knight Academy crest. And let us not forget, she was the sole cadet to bag the honorary knight title this year, the platinum medal. She puffed out her chest with absolute confidence. Obviously. How else am I supposed to take over Dad's throne? Her gaze darkened, suddenly turning fierce. So tell me why I am hearing that you actually rejected the succession. Panic spiked in Aster's chest as he scrambled for a decent excuse. Is she seriously threatening me right now? Dad totally leaked the news to her. What a massive headache. Look, it is not like that. I just know I do not have the stats to handle that kind of authority yet. She let out a dry, mocking chuckle, closing the distance with heavy, aggressive steps. Let us be brutally honest here. You and the old man are fully aware of what my ultimate goal is. Kudryavka drew her blade in a flash. And yet you guys pull this savage stunt. Whoa, what are you doing? Aster locked his eyes on her, unable to mask his rising dread. With one vicious swing, she completely severed a massive tree nearby, sending the heavy timber launching directly at his face. By pure reflex, he dove out of the crash zone. Aster stared wide-eyed, completely stunned. Are you insane? Kudryavka just stared him down with ice in her veins. Well, it has been a hot minute. So let us see what kind of power you are hiding. She rested the steel casually on her shoulder, oozing arrogance. Better brace yourself, because this next strike is going to be fatal. Sweating bullets, Aster threw his hands up to stop her. Hold up, Kud, my mana blade is not even stable yet, but she was not buying it. Are you seriously going to drop that pathetic excuse when an enemy is about to slice your throat on the battlefield? Aster let out a nervous, breathless laugh. An enemy, Kudryavka, bent her knees, dropping into a strike stance, her eyes burning with pure bloodlust. A true knight lives every breathing second like they are in a war zone. If you hold back right now, I will absolutely obliterate you. Got it. His blood ran cold. She was dead serious, watching. Her launch herself at him like a guided missile blade drawn. He gritted his teeth. I am literally spending all my energy just to keep this mana from blowing up. In my own face right now. His expression shifted, hardening into pure focus, but he was totally out of options. Because his psycho sister was actually going for the kill, he braced for impact, blocking her heavy swing, and the sheer shockwave tore the forest apart. Dust and debris exploded everywhere. Through the chaos, Kudryavka kept relentlessly pushing forward, still swinging that blade like an absolute demon, huh? Color me shocked. You are actually keeping up with my pace, especially since I totally maxed out my stats at the academy. She sneered, keeping the pressure on. But what on earth is that garbage half-baked form? Kudryavka unleashed a brutal slash, sending Aster skidding backward across the dirt. Your mana control is an absolute dumpster fire. He dug his boots deep into the soil, desperately trying to stabilize his landing. "Are you kidding me?" Aster screamed out, totally overwhelmed. But his big sister did not offer a single ounce of mercy. A sudden flashback hit him. She had literally been a menace like this his entire life, all because he happened to be the only boy born into the Viscount bloodline, with default heir status. Aster's mind drifted back to his traumatic childhood days. Plus, she was just built different, born with a wing crest that completely blew every other family member out of the water. He vividly remembered the time she would hunt him down, acting like a walking hurricane, always using the unfairness card as an excuse to beat him up. But right in the middle of his monologue, she vanished into thin air. "Let us be real, she is literally my final boss." Her sudden voice echoed from above, snapping him back to reality. Typical Aster. Distracted as always, Kudryavka dive-bombed from the sky, bringing her blade down with terrifying force roaring out, "You are utterly unworthy of stepping up as the next head of this entire bloodline." Meanwhile, miles away from the chaos, Martha gazed calmly out the glass window. "Father, are we seriously just letting those two tear each other apart?" She shot a deeply concerned look at the older man. "At this rate, this little sibling rivalry is going to end with a body bag. You do realize that, right?" However, Heifrey did not look stressed in the slightest, maintaining his signature unbothered aura. "They are the perfect sparring partners. Sure, it is a bit chaotic, but nobody is going to permanently delete the other out there." Martha furrowed her brows, not fully convinced. "I pray you know what you are doing." She then took a slow step toward his desk. "Anyway, back to business. Why exactly did you pull us out of the Night Academy and summon us all the way back here? Please tell me this was not just for some boring family inheritance drama." Heifrey calmly slid a mysterious object out from his drawer. Spot on. Mata's jaw literally dropped. She stared at the object, pulled out, mind completely blown. An official summons from the Elmham bloodline. Those dusty head family elders were demanding a face-to-face with their grandson. She rubbed her eyes, stroking her chin as the heavy reality sank in. This was massive. Heifrey shot her a dead serious side eye. Dropping the ultimate truth bomb, his voice went ice cold. "Worst case scenario. Aster is gone for good." Cut to Aster dodging and desperately trying to clap back. "Cut the nonsense. I already rejected the heir title, and you were literally right there, Kudryavka." Zero hesitation from her end. "Yeah, and that's exactly what ticks me off." She ripped a ruthless sword slash straight at his head. God, she hits like a freight train. Blocking felt like trying to parry a tank wielding a sledgehammer. With a slick flick of his wrists, Aster deflected the blow. The parry threw her balance completely off. Seizing the opening, he swung his blade high and screamed out, "Are you even listening to a word I'm saying?" But his counterattack didn't faze her one bit. "You're just running away, aren't you?" Cold as ice, she unleashed another devastating strike. The sheer force launched him backward, slamming his spine into a massive tree trunk. What kind of monster strength is this? Meanwhile, her blade was practically vibrating, soaking up insane amounts of mana. Relying purely on muscle. Third-rate trash, she judged entirely unbothered. Taming your mana, barely second-rate. Standing tall, her aura flared. "You only hit the top tier when you become one with the magic blade." The disgust in her eyes was totally unfiltered. "You're such a letdown, Aster," she sneered, ready to drop a harsh reality check. "Our wing crests literally dictate our maximum mana capacity. It's basic math. A single wing difference, that's a straight-up 3 times power multiplier." She flashed 2 fingers right in his face. "Meaning my tier 2 5-wing stats, firepower, magic, raw strength should be absolute garbage compared to your 7-wing potential." Her tone dripped with pure mockery. "And yet here you are dodging a head-on clash and relying on that ridiculously cowardly sword style." A toxic, playful smirk crept up her lips. Too scared to trust your own god-tier specs to reach the absolute peak of swordsmanship. Then, she went straight for the throat, bringing up his darkest secret. "Or maybe, you're terrified of totally losing it like you did 3 years ago." Boom. Aster froze, his mind racing. "Scared me. Am I actually terrified of my own 7-wing power?" Staring down at his trembling blade, the pieces finally clicked. It never even crossed my mind. Have I been subconsciously nerfing myself this whole time? A massive wave of doubt washed over him. Wait, is my sword work so shaky because I've been forcefully choking out my own mana? But before he could even process it, Kudryavka's mana flared like a supernova. "Aster, you literally walked into this world with everything I've ever craved." Her knuckles turned white around the hilt. "If you're just gonna let that cheat code level luck rot away, then I get to play the villain here." She closed the gap in a heartbeat. Hand it all over. Refusing to fold, Aster locked into a hardcore defensive stance. 2 monstrous shockwaves of mana collided, ripping up the ground. Seeing the aftermath, Kudryavka totally lost her cool and shrieked. "He completely brushed off my ultimate strike." Aster exhaled, his vibe entirely shifted to dead calm. "Thanks, sis. You just gave me the wake-up call I needed." Watching him blitz forward, panic spiked in her brain. He's charging without even molding his aura blade. Desperate, she whipped her sword forward in a blind panic. No way, that last block should have drained his mana gauge entirely. Deep down, Aster tapped into the absolute ocean of mana, hidden inside his 7-wing crest. His brain went into overdrive, calculating the ultimate counter. I definitely can't control this nuke of energy yet. But for one split second, I got this. Instead of holding a flashy aura, he funneled every single drop of magic straight into the exact millisecond of impact. Catching on, Kudryavka flashed a savage grin. Look who finally decided to use his brain, you absolute idiot. Right then, Aster muttered a chilling phrase under his breath. This second shot at life. This glitch I got. Suddenly, a glitchy, terrifying mana sigil erupted right behind him. I'm not wasting it, and I'm definitely not holding back this power anymore. Flashbacks of everything he cared about surged through his mind. The twin blades, the bloodline, the whole legacy. No matter how much I level up, I still feel like I'm starting from absolute zero. His crazy rambling left Kudryavka totally lost. Second shot at life. What? Meanwhile, his aura condensed into an insanely dense, glowing pressure point. With zero hesitation, Aster locked dead onto her weapon. Then poof. He literally vanished into thin air, leaving Kudryavka internally screaming. What the she stammered out, her brain short-circuiting. His entire blade presence is gone. Like he's a ghost. Out of nowhere, Aster whispered in her ear. No more safety wheels. That's when the true terror hit her. Kudryavka flinched hard, her eyes blowing wide open in pure, unfiltered shock. Smash cut to Kudryavka, staring blankly at the ceiling. Wait, is this my bedroom? She groaned. Out of nowhere, a familiar voice chimed in. Look who finally decided to join the land of the living. Mafia smirked from the corner. You slept in pretty hard, girl. Kudryavka violently bolted upright in bed. Hold up, how the heck did that duel with Aster actually end? Before she could spiral, Mafia casually spilled the tea. Aster literally piggybacked you all the way here, she laughed, ripping the curtains open to let the sun blast in. Dude claims you straight up passed out mid-fight. He actually blamed it on travel fatigue. She shoots her blade a sideways glance. Absolute cap. Kudryavka thinks to herself, her mind racing with a million questions. Right at the very end, I swore Aster was going to slice me down. She shudders, mentally replaying that insane clash. But right before impact, he literally canceled his mana blade. Even Kudryavka felt that massive shift, and only the leftover shockwave brushed past her. Thinking back, there was zero chance Aster would actually execute his own flesh and blood. She cannot shake off the lingering suspicion, but in that exact split second, she genuinely thought she was a goner. A sudden smirk crosses her face. He is seriously the most infuriating little brother ever, even though he is way smaller than her. Gripping her hilt tight, she snaps, Martha is Aster heading back into the fray. Kudryavka aggressively kicks off her blankets. I am absolutely not accepting that duel, she demands. Next time I am going all out from the jump, Martha suddenly cuts her off. If you are looking for Aster, he already dipped. Wait, you knew. That drops Kudryavka right in her tracks. Her sister calmly drops the bomb. The main estate sent a direct summons just for Aster. So that whole thing with our dad earlier, you seriously had no clue. Total panic washes over Kudryavka's face. She frantically screams out, nobody told me a single thing. Meanwhile, a carriage is speeding down the road, with Aster just chilling and staring out the glass. Heifried slowly gives him the rundown. The folks we are about to face are the Hidden Elders, acting as the ultimate shadow backup for the Elmheim bloodline. He keeps explaining, we are talking former heads of the main and branch families, and elite veterans under our banner. They hold massive pull even after retiring from the front lines. Literally the kings of the underworld. Heifried lets out a heavy, anxious sigh. Ever since I adopted you, those old heads have never shown an ounce of interest, yet they summon you right at this exact moment. However, Aster just casually turns his head. It is probably because of that whole mess at the Sword Dance Festival. He softly drops his own intel. The Elmheim elders value family clout way more than cash, honor, or literally their own lives. I heard that. Anyone who drags that reputation through the mud gets tossed into the beast pits as monster chow. The second those words drop, Heifried shoots his kid a terrified look. Aster, where on earth did you hear those rumors? He awkwardly stammers out. Just around a while ago. Honestly, I am already mentally prepared to get executed or permanently exiled. The dad furrows his brows, staring hard at his son. Are you actually okay with this? Stepping out with zero backup? Yet Aster replies without missing a beat. All good. My original plan was to bounce right when my sisters arrived. He flashes a soft smile, turning away. Especially with Kudo. If her most hated target me is out of the picture, she can finally spread her wings and soar. Aster gently brushes his fingertips against his blade. Thanks to her, I am finally cracking the code on how to master this Graham. His eyes narrow as he grips the hilt tight. I feel like I can tap into way more of the Seven Wings power now. So no matter what goes down from here on out, please do not try to save me. Aster drops the ultimate heavy line. I am fully locked in to survive solo. Heifried's scowl deepens like crazy. Aster you. But out of nowhere, a voice crashes the conversation. Survive solo. What absolute garbage. The baby of the family is trying way too hard to act tough. Heifried practically jumps out of his skin. The kid's jaw hits the floor. Right outside the window, Kudryavka randomly spawns. Kudo, what in the world are you doing here? Wait, do not tell me you literally sprinted all the way here. She completely ignores her brother's shock, casually climbing into the moving rig. Is it not incredibly toxic to just ghost your big sister without a single goodbye? She snaps, totally salty. I caught every word. You got dragged into a meeting with the main family's grand elders, right? Even Martha and I have never gotten a single invite from them. Hifrid hastily tries to run interference. Kudryavka, I know you get it, but bringing you to the main estate is. She smoothly parks herself right next to Aster. I know. Word on the street is? You called us over to hold down the fort while you are gone. I fully grasped the assignment. Kudryavka shoots a razor-sharp side-eye. But this summons screams major red flags, meaning we need to be on high alert. Her voice cuts through the tension again. Martha already spelled it out. We all know Aster might never make it back. Hearing that, Aster tries to diffuse the situation with a soft tone. You are overthinking it. I am just pulling up for a quick chat. But whether he actually walks out alive is a whole different story. Suddenly, Kudryavka shoves her finger straight in his face. Listen up, Aster. I absolutely despise you. Her aggressive callouts start hitting him back to back. Because you are a guy, because of your 7 wings, because you always get the VIP treatment, she keeps unleashing, because you are stronger than me, your older sister, and because you keep acting like a full-grown adult when you are literally just my little brother. I hate all of it. Aster stares blankly at his raging sister, his mind swarming with utter confusion. Kudryavka's next words made him freeze. But honestly, you are still my precious family. I do not care how OP you get or how much you try to act grown, you will always be my annoying little brother. With that, she shot up from her seat. So make sure you bring your butt back in one piece for our rematch. Kudryavka violently kicked the carriage door wide open. If you dare ghost me while you are literally winning, I will hunt you down. Without wasting another breath, she yeeted herself straight out of the moving carriage. Aster just sat there, totally dumbfounded. Like what was even the point of her showing up? Hifrid's gaze softened as he quietly muttered, that girl, she is a solid rival. Meanwhile, deep down, Aster was just thinking, thanks sis. I appreciate it. Watching her silhouette fade into the distance, a massive wave of determination hit him. I am surviving this. The second they pulled up, a booming voice echoed out. Welcome back, Lord Hifrid. A totally stone-faced guard stepped forward. The Great Elder is expecting you inside. Hifrid instantly shut him down. We do not need a babysitter. I know the way. But the guard did not even flinch. I am afraid that is a no-go, sir. My strict orders are to personally escort the 2 of you into the hall. Hifrid heavily analyzed the vibe, realizing instantly. Yeah, they definitely did not call us all the way out here for a wholesome family reunion. The tension is way too thick for that. Aster silently scanned the area, taking in the massive castle. Man, what a throwback. It feels like a lifetime since I have been back here. Breaking the silence, Hifrid warned. I am pretty sure you already know the drill, Aster. His voice was low and dead serious. But whatever happens today, you cannot lose your cool. I do not care what kind of trash they talk. Aster just shrugged it off. That totally depends on how much they test my patience. Hifrid aggressively facepalmed. And that is exactly why this is a massive headache. Listen to me. The guy we are about to face is… But Aster zoned out, letting his eyes drift over the massive training grounds. Dallas is MIA. Guess getting your main hand completely pulverized makes bouncing back to active duty a little tricky. Huh. Hifrid's sharp tone completely snapped him back to reality. Are you even paying attention? Aster. Feeling his dad's intense glare, Aster awkwardly cleared his throat. Yeah, totally. He smoothly deflected. I will go full NPC mode today. Besides, Sis already threatened my life if I do not come back in one piece. The massive mahogany doors creaked open, and their escort immediately barked out Lord Hifrid. And his son have arrived. A super hostile, raspy voice sliced through the room. Took you long enough. It has been, what, over 10 years? The geezer smirked from the shadows. How have you been, my dear grandson Hifrid? Hifrid instantly dropped to one knee, bowing his head in total submission. It has been a while, 6th Patriarch. He quickly corrected himself. My apologies. I mean, great-grandfather. Aster subtly side-eyed the old man. So, this is the final boss lurking in the shadows of the Elmhem clan. His mind raced. The 6th-generation head of the main branch, genus Elmhem. Aster quickly scanned the rest of the room, and I am guessing all these other boomers are the elite heavy hitters keeping the Elmhem Empire running. He casually sized up the crowd. Okay, I definitely recognize some of these guys from the Sword Dance Festival. But then a major red flag hit him. Wait, where the hell is Roderick? As if reading his mind, Genus let out a dry chuckle. He is not here. You little punk. The old man arrogantly explained that Roderick was way too busy playing captain of the Royal Knights. Leaning heavily on his cane, Genus sneered. He does not have a single second to waste on petty family drama. That is why us old-timers stepped in to handle the behind-the-scenes dirty work. Aster subtly narrowed his eyes at the old man. Honestly, back in my past life, I never even crossed paths with this dude, so he was literally off my radar. His brain went into hyperdrive analyzing the power dynamic, but assembling an entire squad of high-ranking elders, while the current clan leader is totally MIA. For a retired guy, he is definitely still pulling some massive strings. Cutting through the tension, Hyfried bravely stepped up. And what exactly is this petty drama you mentioned? Janice did not even blink. Oh, come on. You already know exactly why you are here. A toxic smirk played on the old man's lips. Word on the street is your little stray pet here threw an absolute temper tantrum at the sword dance festival. Aster's stomach dropped. Bingo. I knew this was going to bite me in the back. Standing his ground, Hyfrid totally backed his boy. If we are talking about that incident, the current head Roderick has already swept it under the rug and handled it. But right on cue, the surrounding elders started throwing mad shade. That was literally just a PR stunt to keep the media quiet. It absolutely does not erase the fact the flawless reputation of the Elmham clan was dragged through the mud. A pure avalanche of toxic hate rained down on Hyfried. Letting a random no-name street rat into this elite bloodline was a catastrophic mistake from day one. We totally could have looked the other way if the kid just stayed a useless background character. But the second he dared to flex his teeth at the main branch, yeah, game over. The only option left is absolute exile, and trust me, you are going down with him. That is total garbage. Leave Lord Hyfried out of this. Aster stood right there, his patience officially hitting rock bottom. He immediately fired back. Hold up, I am the one pulling the strings here. He desperately tried to set the record straight. My dad has absolutely zero to do with this, but Hyfried just shot him, a silent, heavy look shaking his head. The kid froze instantly, the rest of his defense dying in his throat like ash. Zenas did not miss a beat, dripping with pure venom. Wow, your parenting skills are absolute trash. Letting some brat casually interrupt. Grown folks talking, the old man slowly pushed himself up. We command an army of over 12,000 elite knights. Zenas kept pressing the issue. We carry the crushing weight of the Elmham legacy. But let us be real, those knights are not exactly singing Kumbaya together. The whole room shot them nasty side-eye glares. There are countless snakes lurking in the shadows, just waiting for a slip-up to steal the crown. The old man kept rambling, and yeah, that obviously includes the vultures standing right here. In this very room, Zenas took slow, calculated steps forward. We honestly just want some peace of mind. We need hardcore proof that you aren't a ticking time bomb for the Elmham bloodline. He coldly shoved a sword hilt right up into Hyfrid's grill. The father stared at it, sweating. Zenas dug up the trauma ice in his voice. Ring a bell. Back when you totally botched protecting your master and dragged the Elmham reputation through the absolute mud. Right inside these four walls, you let Roderick slice off your freaking arm. Showing zero pity, the old tyrant dropped an insane ultimatum. Fixing him with a dead-eyed stare, he boomed out a brutal order. This time prove you are really ride or die by chopping off that brat's head. Aster's jaw practically hit the floor, eyes wide with pure shock. Not backing down, Zenas purred with toxic energy. Pull that off, and we wipe the slate clean. Crushing pressure or not, Hyfrid held his ground. Hell no, he fired back totally fearless. I would literally rather off myself than lay a hand on my own flesh and blood. Aster stared at his dad, completely stunned. Zenas clicked his tongue, highly annoyed. Oh word, fantastic. The geezer aggressively brandished his cane. If that is how we are playing it. Zenas barked out with zero empathy, then dropped dead. Your wife, your daughter, and that little punk. Every single one of you. On cue, the guards swarmed them. As of today, the Viscount bloodline is officially erased from existence. In a flash, Aster and Hyfrid were boxed in tight. Standing in the middle of the chaos, the kid slowly spoke up. What exactly has you shaking in your boots, great-grandpa? That sarcastic tone made Zenas snap his neck back in pure rage. Excuse me, Aster, coldly roasted the room. A whole squad of grown men huddling together, shivering like absolute cowards. It is pathetic. If you are genuinely terrified of your own pet dog turning on you, then just banish me or throw me away like trash. Then he casually yanked his tie loose. But if you even think about laying a single finger on my family, Hyfrid watched him totally paralyzed. The kid aggressively ripped his shirt open. My bad, Dad. I guess at the end of the day, playing the quiet good boy just is not in my DNA. The surrounding knights lost their minds. Yo, what the heck is that? They stammered, eyes glued to Aster's bare back. That freaking seal, the mysterious crest on his skin suddenly flared with intense glowing energy. Cross that line, and I become the Elmham clan's ultimate final boss. Aster hit them with a deadly side-eye. You guys